Hey, it's Alexander. So today I'm going to be making a spiced vanilla orange syrup. Let's get into it. So I have my already peeled oranges. I'm actually using the peels from these to make fruit powder. I'm just going to slice these all in half, and then I'll juice them directly into my container and strain out any seeds that I get in the mix. All right, let's juice these. All right, let me clean up this mess real quick. Okay, now we're gonna strain it out to get any pulp or seeds out of the way. And as you can see, we did catch quite a bit of pulp in there and a few little tiny seeds. So we'll go ahead and toss those. Now let's set this to the side and get started on our syrup. So for this syrup, I'm just going to be doing the standard 1-to-1 ratio by weight, 1 part orange juice and 1 part sugar. So what I'll do is go ahead and turn on my scale while the pot's on there and just go ahead and hit tare just to make sure that it's completely leveled out. And now I'm gonna measure how much orange juice I have in grams. So I'll add our orange juice. And it turns out we have 401.8 grams, so I'll just call it 400 grams. Now we'll add our sugar. I'll put 400 grams as well to make it 800 grams rounded out. And now since we have our basic ratio for a syrup, I'm actually going to be adding some vanilla beans as well as some spices. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So first up, I'm going to be adding an entire vanilla bean. Now, if you didn't know, you can actually buy bulk vanilla beans online for a really good deal. I just happened to be making this one syrup and only needed one, and I didn't feel like waiting for it to show up to my house to make this video, so I went ahead and bought some at the store. So I found for vanilla beans, you do want to cut them directly down the center, just like this, and then try to scrape out the beans. And then I don't like to throw away the rest of this, so I'll chop it into small bits and throw that into the syrup as well. Just to make this easier, I'm also going to cut this in half since it is folded there. And then run the blade directly down the center, like so. Then we'll just go ahead and open this up the best we can. You can see that vanilla bean is full of seeds and it just smells fantastic. So we'll go ahead and scratch out as much as we can. We'll do the same with the other side. I love the way that this room smells right now. It smells like fresh orange juice and vanilla beans. It's almost like those dreamsicle popsicles you had as a kid. I'll go ahead and chop these into smaller pieces. The last time that I worked with vanilla was when I was making a strawberry basil and vanilla bean mead. And to be honest with you, that was the best mead I've ever made. Called it the VSB, Vanilla Strawberry Basil. Might have to do that again for a video sometime. So now that we have our vanilla, let's add this to the syrup. Now also in the meantime, I can go ahead and start heating up the syrup. So I'm just going to turn this on low and get it warmed up. Add our vanilla beans. We'll give this a quick stir. Next, we're gonna add just a few bits of coriander, a whole cinnamon stick, just a few cloves. They can overpower your syrups, so be careful with them. A little under a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a quick dash of allspice, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. Now as this comes to a boil, you'll want to keep stirring it so nothing burns on the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and turn down my heat just a little bit now that it's come to a rolling boil. Now this room smells amazing right now. It smells just like those orange cinnamon rolls I used to eat as a kid. Very nostalgic. I am going to continue to let this cook so the spices have enough time to infuse in with the syrup. I am just going to keep this on a low temperature so nothing burns. So now that it's done cooking, I'm gonna give this a little while to cool down, and then I'm going to put this in a jar to let it infuse in the refrigerator overnight. Tomorrow I'll come back and I'll strain it out and I'll use it in a cocktail. All right, so now it's the next day. Let's go ahead and strain our syrup and see how it tastes. So I've got my next jar here, and here is the syrup. I'm going to give this a nice shake, and then I'm gonna open it up and strain it into the next container. Smells nice. All right, so I'll put my double strainer on top of this jar and I'll just transfer this into it. Now this is just personal preference. I don't mind the vanilla bean seeds and the little tiny fine bits that are in here. Now, if you don't want those little seeds and other little bits of spices in your syrup, you can put it through a cheesecloth that'll typically pick out any of those bigger pieces and only allow the syrup to pass through. But for me, this is just fine. And I will also say that the times that I've had to improvise and just use a little bit of a vanilla bean instead of a cocktail at a bar, people get really impressed when there's vanilla bean seeds floating in their cocktail. They know that it's not fake vanilla, and they know that it's not just vanilla extract, but that I used a vanilla bean. People think that's really cool. Now I know that this is going to be extremely sweet on its own, but I'm going to give it a taste anyways. It's good to test your stuff just to make sure it's right where you want it to be. Let's give it a taste. You know, it's really funny that I feel like I'm getting some coconut flavor in there. I think that I just associate vanilla and orange with coconut, but there's no coconut in there at all. This would be really nice in a rum cocktail, which I'll probably end up making one soon and posting it. I'm really excited about this cocktail. It would go good with whiskey, rum, or even a barrel-aged tequila. Really anything that's barrel-aged and has those wood sugars in there, this would appeal to that. I imagine that this would even mix with gin if you add some soda and stretch it out a bit, just to give it the aromatics and less of the sweetness. If you did like half an ounce of lemon, half an ounce of this, and then 1.5 ounces of gin and some soda water and some ice, I bet that would be a fantastic summer cocktail. Those baking spices are definitely there, but they're not overwhelming. It's more on the vanilla and the orange. But those baking spices do give it a nice backbone to pull everything together. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this over to another bottle, just so it's a little bit easier to keep. And you know me, I'm not gonna use a funnel. I'm just gonna try to free pour it directly into this bottle. That's such a good syrup. All right, now I'm gonna cork it up. Let me go ahead and make a label for this as well while I'm at it. All right, so now I've got my label, orange spice vanilla syrup. This stuff is going to be so nice in so many different cocktails. I'm excited to use it, and maybe I'll feature it in a video pretty soon. But until then, I will catch you next time.